Welcome to Walking Tour of Japan, a podcast dedicated to bringing you a new adventure somewhere in Japan with every episode. Each week we'll travel to a different destination, from ancient temples and stunning gardens to fascinating cities, historic landmarks, and hidden gems tucked away across this incredible country. If you're gearing up for your own trip, head over to northstartravelers.com, where you'll find gear recommendations to help you travel smarter, plus a full list of our other podcast shows covering destinations around the world. If you love discovering new places and planning your next adventure, follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the show, leaving a positive review goes a long way in helping others find it. Now let's explore Japan. You are standing at the edge of something that changes people. Not everyone can say exactly how or why before they arrive, but almost everyone who comes here leaves different. This is the Atomic Bomb Dome, in Japanese, Genbaku Dome, rising from the northern tip of Peace Memorial Park in central Hiroshima, its hollow steel skeleton reaching into the sky above the calm Motoyasu River. It is one of the most recognized structures in the world and one of the most quietly devastating places you will ever stand. Take a moment before you move closer. Just look at it. The walls are intact on some sides, crumbling on others. The dome frame at the top, stripped of its copper skin, is nothing but bare ribs of steel, twisted and bent, still holding their shape after 80 years. The bricks are blackened and broken. Empty windows look out like hollow eyes. And yet it stands. That, above everything else, is what makes this place so extraordinary. Everything around it was obliterated. And this building, improbably, almost impossibly, did not fall. The structure was not always called the Atomic Bomb Dome. When it opened in April of 1915, it was the Hiroshima Prefectural Industrial Promotion Hall, a grand civic building designed by Czech architect Jan Letzel. At the time, it was considered one of the most architecturally striking buildings in western Japan. Most of Hiroshima's city center was still low wooden construction, and this three-story brick and concrete building with its elegant European copper dome stood out beautifully against the riverline. It hosted art exhibitions, commercial fairs, and community events. For 3 decades, it was a place of culture and civic life. Hiroshima's residents were proud of it. At 8:15 in the morning on August 6, 1945, a United States B-29 bomber released a single weapon above the city. The bomb, codenamed Little Boy, detonated approximately 600 meters above the ground, nearly directly overhead. The hypocenter, the point on the ground directly beneath the explosion, was just 160 meters to the southeast of this building. The blast pressure at that distance was estimated at 35 tons per square meter. The wind speed was 440 meters per second. Everyone inside the building was killed instantly. The building itself was engulfed in fire from ceiling to ground. The intense heat melted glass. Iron bent like paper. Wooden structures across the city, most of the city, simply ceased to exist. And yet, because the force of the blast came almost directly downward rather than horizontally, the vertical walls of this building partially survived. The dome, robbed of its copper skin, left only its skeletal iron frame. What you are looking at right now is the aftermath of that moment, preserved exactly as it was. Not restored, not reconstructed, held in place. The city of Hiroshima has maintained it through a series of careful reinforcement projects since the 1960s, using minimal steel and synthetic resin to stabilize what remains, but never to restore what was lost. The ruin itself is the message. Walk closer now. There is a low iron fence around the perimeter. You cannot enter, and you will understand immediately why you wouldn't want to. This is not a place to walk through casually. It is a place to stand before. Notice how the remaining walls catch the light differently depending on the time of day. If you are here in the early morning, the dome frame casts long shadows across the river. The reflection in the Motoyasu River below is almost perfectly still on calm days. The skeleton of the building doubled in the water, as if the past and present are looking at each other across a mirror. One practical note here: if you want to experience this site with fewer people and in a more reflective mood, early morning is genuinely the best time to visit. The park is open around the clock. Come before 8 in the morning if you can. The light is better, the crowds have not yet arrived, and there's a stillness here in the early hours that feels right for a place like this. As you walk the perimeter of the dome, look southeast. That direction, about 160 meters away, is roughly where the bomb actually detonated above the earth. There's a marker not far from here indicating the hypocenter. It is easy to walk right past it. Take a moment to find it. A small stone plaque set into the ground, modest to the point of being easy to miss. That quiet understatement is typical of how Hiroshima memorializes, not with grandeur, but with precision. Now begin walking south into the broader sweep of Peace Memorial Park. The park occupies a triangular island between two branches of the river, about 12 hectares in total. Before the bombing, this was a dense commercial and residential neighborhood, shops, homes, a busy urban district. The blast reduced it entirely to ash. The city chose not to rebuild it. Instead, they created this park in the early 1950s as a place of mourning, remembrance, and a deliberate statement about what the future should hold. As you walk deeper into the park, you will pass beneath rows of trees, zelkovas and cherry trees, depending on the season. In late March and early April, those cherry trees are in full bloom, and the contrast between the beauty overhead and the weight of what this ground holds is almost too much to take in at once. If you are here in spring, allow yourself to feel that tension. It is not inappropriate, it is exactly what the city intended. Ahead of you, rising from the center of the park, is the Children's Peace Monument. You will recognize it immediately. A bronze girl stands atop a granite pedestal, arms outstretched, a paper crane rising above her head. This monument was inspired by Sadako Sasaki, a girl who was 2 years old when the bomb fell on her city. She survived the initial blast, but 10 years later, at 12, she was diagnosed with leukemia, one of the long-term consequences of radiation exposure that continued to claim lives for years and decades after August 6th. While in the hospital, Sadako began folding paper cranes, inspired by the Japanese legend that anyone who folds 1,000 cranes will be granted a wish. She wanted to live. She folded more than 1,000 before she died in October of 1955. Her classmates built this monument in her memory in 1958, and something remarkable happened. Children across Japan, and eventually the world, began sending folded paper cranes to Hiroshima. They still do. Look around the base of the monument and you will see thousands upon thousands of cranes, bundled in colorful strings, left by school groups, families, and individuals from every country imaginable. The act of folding a crane has become, through Sadako's story, one of the most widely recognized symbols of peace in the world. If you brought one with you, this is the place to leave it. Continue south past the monument and you will come to the central axis of the park, a long open promenade that leads your eye from the museum in the south all the way north to the dome. This alignment is intentional. Stand here for a moment and look north. The dome is framed perfectly at the far end of the promenade, visible through the arch of the Cenotaph ahead of you. The architects who designed the park in the 1950s created this visual axis deliberately so that you would always be able to see the ruin, always be reminded of what the park exists to commemorate. The cenotaph directly in front of you is the memorial monument for the atomic bomb victims, shaped like an ancient Japanese gabled roof, a form historically used to shelter sacred spaces. Beneath it is a stone chest that holds the register of deceased A-bomb victims, a list, updated every year, of the names of all known people who died as a result of the bombing. As of the most recent count, that list contains more than 340,000 names. The inscription on the cenotaph reads, "Let all the souls here rest in peace, for we shall not repeat the evil." The phrasing is deliberately universal. It does not assign blame, it asks for a promise. Just to the north of the cenotaph, a flame burns on a low stone platform. This is the flame of peace, lit on August 1st, 1964, and burning continuously ever since. It will continue to burn according to the city's declaration until every nuclear weapon on Earth has been destroyed. As of today, it is still burning. Now turn and walk toward the museum at the southern end of the park. The Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum is one of the most important and emotionally demanding museums in the world. Give it the time it deserves. Most visitors need at least 90 minutes, and many stay much longer. The exhibits walk you through the history of Hiroshima before the war, the decision to drop the bomb the moment of the explosion, and the human stories of what followed. You will see belongings recovered from the rubble, a child's lunchbox, a watch stopped at 8:15, a school uniform. You will hear from survivors. There is nothing gratuitous here. Everything is presented with dignity and care, but it is not easy. It is not meant to be. One detail that many visitors find unexpectedly moving: the museum now focuses significantly on individual stories rather than statistics. It is easy to absorb a number: 140,000 dead by the end of 1945. It is much harder to look at a photograph of a specific child who was on her way to school that morning, read her name, and understand that she was 8 years old. That shift in the museum's approach, completed in a major renovation in 2019, makes the experience more personal and, as a result, more powerful. If you have time, step into the National Peace Memorial Hall for the atomic bomb victims as well, a quieter, more contemplative space just east of the museum. Underground, circular, and lit by natural light filtered through an oculus above, it is designed for silent reflection. A hall of water cascades around the walls. Portraits and testimonies of survivors are available to read. Many visitors find this the most affecting space in the entire park. Before you leave the park, there is one more spot worth finding: the Atomic Bomb Memorial Mound, located in the northeastern corner, slightly off the main paths. Beneath this mound lie the cremated remains of approximately 70,000 unidentified victims of the bombing, people whose bodies were recovered after the blast and whose identities were never determined. It is a humble, grassy hill, easy to walk past without noticing, but now you know it is there. A final thought on timing: the park holds a major peace ceremony every August 6th, the anniversary of the bombing. If you can arrange to be here on that date, the experience is extraordinary and deeply moving. Tens of thousands of people gather. Lanterns are floated on the river at dusk, but on any day of the year, at any hour, this park holds weight. That never changes. When you are ready to step back into the city and think about where to go next, there is quite a lot within easy walking distance. Directly across the river from the dome is the Orzuru Tower, a 13-story modern building where the upper floors offer a sweeping aerial view of the park and the dome from above. There is also a wall inside where visitors can place their own folded paper cranes, continuing the tradition Sadako began. It is a genuinely good vantage point, especially if you want to understand the geography of the park and the river. For food, you are in one of Japan's great culinary cities. Hiroshima-style okonomiyaki, the city's signature dish, is something you simply must try while you are here. It differs from the Osaka version in a very specific way. Rather than mixing all the ingredients together, Hiroshima-style okonomiyaki is built in layers on a flat iron griddle. Thin batter goes down first, then a mountain of shredded cabbage, then pork, then a nest of yakisoba noodles, then a cracked egg on top, all folded together and finished with a sweet savory sauce. The result is a dense, deeply satisfying pancake with crispy edges and soft, yielding layers inside. Nagataya is one of the best places to eat it, and the location could not be more convenient. It sits directly next to Peace Park, just a 2-minute walk from the dome. It is a lively, casual restaurant with counter seats where you can watch the chefs working the griddle. They also offer grilled Hiroshima oysters in butter, which pairs beautifully with the okonomiyaki if you are hungry. No reservations are accepted, and lines can form at peak times. Plan to arrive just before opening or in the mid-afternoon to avoid the wait. If oysters are your focus, the most memorable option near the park is Kakifune Kanawa, a floating restaurant moored on the Motoyasu River, less than 5 minutes on foot from the dome. You dine on a traditional wooden barge, low tables on tatami, river on all sides. Hiroshima is Japan's largest oyster-producing region, and Kanawa sources its oysters from a private reserve in the Seto Inland Sea, where the water is clean and the salt concentration is high. The oysters are firm, plump, and intensely flavored. The lunch course is the most accessible entry point. Reservations are recommended, especially on weekends. Worth knowing, there is also a Peace Park rest house a short walk away, a rebuilt pre-war building that now has a small cafe on the second floor, tourist information on the ground floor, and exhibits on the basement level. It is a good place to sit down, collect yourself after the museum, and have a quiet cup of coffee before deciding where to go next. Hiroshima Castle is also within walking distance from the park, about a 20-minute walk northeast. The original castle was completely destroyed in the bombing and reconstructed in 1958. It serves now as a local history museum, and the grounds and moat are beautiful, especially in spring. It is a worthwhile addition to your day if you have the energy and the interest. Now, come back to where you are standing for a moment. The dome is still visible behind you. The river is still moving. The cranes are still blowing in the breeze by the Children's Monument. There is a specific quality of silence in this park that you do not find many places in the world. It is not the silence of emptiness. It is the silence of people choosing, consciously, deliberately, to be quiet here, to pay attention, to remember. Hiroshima today is a living city. Its streets are full, its restaurants are good, its people are warm. The city did not collapse under the weight of what happened here. It rebuilt. And then it made a decision that very few cities in history have made. Instead of simply moving on, it kept one broken building standing, built a park around it, and said to every person who ever visits, "Come here, look, remember, and go out into the world and do something with what you felt." That brings us to the end of today's episode. Before you go, a few quick things. Subscribe so you never miss a destination, leave us a positive review to help others find the show, and share this episode with someone who loves exploring Japan. And if you're hungry for more adventures beyond Japan, visit northstartravelers.com to explore our other podcast shows and browse gear recommendations for wherever your next journey takes you. Your support means the world and keeps these adventures coming. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next walk.